Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Knowledge or Nonsense. And I am your host, Chimere Curry. We have a great show for you guys today. We're going to have two SPD heroes on this show today, Kyree Thomas and Bill Rishell. And we're going to talk about recognition and appreciation in teams. It's going to be amazing, right, guys? Before we get into the show, though, let me give you a little bit of introduction to each one. And for no particular reason other than ladies first, I am going to start off with Kyree. Kyree is currently serving as a clinical professional educator at Wellstar in Georgia. She also has a bachelor's in human biology and a master's in healthcare leadership. All right. She has been a subject matter expert, a conference speaker, a SIP spotlight leader, Golden Crown certifications she holds, yes ma'am, and an awesome transformational leader. All right, Miss Kyree, we see you. Then we have the amazing Bill Rishell, right? He is a highly skilled healthcare professional with a comprehensive background in sterile processing and medical device management. Hey, Rebecca, I see you. Thank you for joining us. He also holds a CRCST and a CHL certification. And currently, Bill is serving as the sterile processing coordinator at Sonoma Valley Hospital. We see you, Bill. Thank you so much. Before we get into it, I want to go ahead and give you guys an opportunity to give some more people time to join in, subscribe, put your name in the comments so that we can see who's here with us today, because we love to see it and we love to see who's all showing up for us today. I see someone named T and Antisocial. Thank you guys for joining. I absolutely appreciate you guys. Again, go ahead, take some time, subscribe, put your names in so I can recognize you for coming in and showing your support. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we are going to be right back with Kyree Thomas and Bill Rishell. Welcome back. Hello, Bill and Kyree. Look, these are two amazing SPD superheroes, and we are so excited to have you guys on the show today. I want to give you guys an opportunity to just kind of pat yourselves on the back a little bit. I know I did a little bit of history, but I know it didn't do you any justice. So, Kyree, can you tell us how long you've been in sterile processing and kind of what got you in this path?
Absolutely. First, I want to say thank you for this opportunity. I am so excited, and I finally get to see Bill in sort of like in person, but sort of like in person, Bill. So I'm so excited to be here. Yes, I would love to brag about myself. So I've been in sterile processing for 15 years. I started off in 2010. I started as a surgical tech. At that time, as a surgical tech, I was in a trauma one facility and I loved the experience, but I just still needed some more adrenaline rush. Like I needed something else. So I decided, let me go ahead and join the military. So I left the OR for a little bit. I joined the military. I traveled the world in the Air Force. And then once I came back to the civilian side and ready to settle down, there were no openings for me in the OR. So I was told, hey, we got a position in SPD for you. It'll only be temporary, but it's your way of getting to the hospital, and then we'll work you up. Well, guess what? That little temporary position was never temporary. It became my career. So I got into SPD. I was a tech. I was a supervisor, an educator, a manager, and now again, an educator. So this is 15 years of traveling from New York to Georgia of experience, and I love every second of it.
Man, that's awesome. Look, Bill, can you tell us a little bit about your experience as a sterilization validations manager and how you got to your current role?
Oh yeah, no problem. This is great. I really enjoyed your introduction, CC, as well as hearing from Kyree. Just really happy to be here. So passionate about sterile processing. I've been able to be in the industry for about 20 years. This is my 20th year. I started at a hospital in the Bay Area known as Chimere Medical Center. It's one time was among the top 10 hospitals. Did my externship there, worked really hard. I knew that, faith without works was dead. So I had to prove to them during my externship that I was a person that they should invest in. And so the last day of my externship, the manager, she said they were opening up a position that they had closed down, years ago. It was 4 hours doing SPD and then 4 hours doing the equipment tech, delivering the pumps. And, I pretty much after my externship, they offered me a position, got into the hospital. I really wanted to go into leadership. I wanted to learn pediatric instrumentation. So I went to Children's Hospital. This was when I got to Children's Hospital. It was a great experience. And then it ended up leading me on to go and work at Kaiser Permanente. I believe my wife lost her job right after we had our daughter, our one and only child. And so a friend of mine worked at Kaiser Permanente, this big health system on the West Coast. I think it's also down there in Atlanta. And I got on call and eventually ended up worked there for 15 years. This was right in the pandemic, and I decided that I really, at the time I was an SPD as a liaison. I was in the OR just delivering that, that value-added service, that excellent customer care, just was killing it up in the OR. I mean, the OR loved me there because I really tried to build my business around what my customers valued and gave them what they wanted. And so I was around vendors, and I got that, that vendor itch. I wanted to go into being a vendor. So I left sterile processing for about a year to work for Steris IMS as a customer insight analyst. And, I was there for maybe 10 months. It just wasn't a really good fit for me working at Steris. And I was interviewing for a position in image guidance in the OR, but I always wanted to work in single-use medical device, and I got this opportunity to be a sterilization engineer. I went in for the interview, and at that time they had a lot of technical managers, and the CEO of the company, Larry Nichols, really wanted someone that had more like, people skills. And so he brought me on as the manager there, and I loved it. It was so different to learn how they validate single-use medical devices, but I was driving like in 70 miles one way, and it was really breaking me down. So my manager, currently where I'm at, Kelly Cornell at Sonoma Valley Hospital, this position was open as a coordinator, and she found my resume and she called me, and I knew when I talked to her, I could feel it. I mean, I'm a believer. I knew when God was opening a door that it was really pretty much made sense that was my job when I got there, and just been there ever since. And so during the pandemic, I did go to surgical tech school as well through the union. And so I was able to, I've done a few cases at my job where I'm at now, but anyways, I'm just excited to be here. Looking forward to a great conversation. And that's my background.
Look, you both have a plentiful career in sterile processing. And I saw Rebecca said, thank you so much for your service, Kyree.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.
Man, I thank you guys too for your dedication to the industry. So you guys have been in there and you guys have stuck it out. So look, we're going to go ahead and get into our topic, guys. We are talking recognition and appreciation in teams. And so I want to go ahead and explore the power in recognition, right? For anyone who has worked in this field for any length of time, no matter how short, I'm sure that you have heard someone in upper leadership say it's a thankless job, right? But it doesn't have to be that way, right? Why? Why is it a thankless job? I feel like all it takes, right, to get that recognition in sterile processing that we deserve really is if we can get one chief of surgery, one CNO, one CEO, one OR manager to just say, you know what, we are going to recognize them and appreciate them at the same rate and on the same level as we do our surgical services team upstairs in the OR.
I agree.
Right? So I feel like because we have so many different people that watch this show, that this is a great opportunity for us to talk about what does that look like, right? How can we recognize some of those people, and how can we consider our SPD team? Because recognition and appreciation is a vital part of any organization, right? It's the difference between
Mhm.
open lines of communication, safe spaces, and your overall morale for your department, right?
Right.
So I want to get into my first question for Bill. Based on your experience, what types of recognition are most valued by team members?
That's a good question. What type of recognition is most valued by team members? I would have to say, see, there's so many different ways you can recognize somebody. But
Mhm.
I think like the best way you can really show a person that you recognize them is by making changes in the department that are really value added. So it's really listening to the ear of the people and checking the pulse of your department. And so I've been in so many times where the SPD staff will say, "We don't want pizza, right?
Right.
We want good instruments that function, or
Yes.
we don't want a sandwich, right? We
Hmm.
want more staff when we're short, right?" So it's those things about the value stream or the workflow that people really value the most, and that shows the greatest appreciation is making sure when we come to work that we have enough people to get the job done. I mean, you don't show up to a basketball game with three players, right? You show up with
Right.
five players and five players on the bench, so you have rotation. So I think that's what's most important is just making sure that you're giving us the things that we should have already expected when we got to work. I think that's to me is how you really can show that you're showing recognition.
I love that.
Me too.
I want to take a moment because you also said something that prayer without work was dead.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel
Yeah.
like when you make sure that you appreciate in ways that add value, that's
Hmm.
how you put in the work, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Man, so Kyree,
But can I just add to Bill's?
absolutely.
So, Bill, that was amazing. Like, that was spot on. That was
Thank you.
perfect. Now, I'm going to add something maybe a little silly, but this is what I have also observed. Bill's yours is number one. Here goes my number two. They like some gift cards. They like cash.
All
They don't
right.
want no
Yeah,
pizza. They want some cash for that gas. Like they love. And if you talk to your staff and you, like you said, Bill, get to know them. And once you get to know them, you know how they tick and how to reward them. Psst, giving them what truly means something to them. That's it right there. So you said it, Bill. Getting to know your people.
that's great.
And you know what, Kyrie, you're right. So I want to tell you a time, and it was such a simple thing, but the person recognized it in the moment. But I just want to show our viewers like how simple it can be. So one of my employees, I was having a crappy day, and one of my employees noticed that, and they brought me a Snicker. Snicker is my favorite, my absolute favorite candy bar.
Right.
It's my go-to. And I was just like, man, I really appreciate that. Like, you don't know how much I needed just somebody to do something nice for me in that moment. And so I really appreciated that. And Snicker is like $1, right? $2. It was such a
Right.
small thing, but it meant a lot in that moment when I needed a little bit of a pick me up.
Yep.
So,
That chocolate,
absolutely.
that chocolate and caramel goes a long way.
Hey, if you're not eating Snicker, no promo to them, but eat a Snicker. Um, so, Kyrie, uh, who do you feel bears the responsibility for recognition in the department?
Can you repeat that? Just
Absolutely.
okay.
Who do you feel bears the responsibility for making sure that the department has some type of program for recognition?
Okay. So first, who bears the responsibility to make sure the department has a program for recognition? Okay. So my first answer is going to be the leadership, the leader. And the reason why I say leader, because as a leader, your team looks at you all types of the day. They're observing your movements, your conversations, what you're doing, your maneuvers. So what you're showing your team means a lot. So if you're leading by example and they're naturally seeing you giving recognition, you saying, "Hey, Charlotte, great job," and you giving that high five. Or you saying, "Hey, how's your kids? How's everything going? Great job, mom." You getting to know them and being able to show your team how you give rewards and how you recognize that means so much more, and they're going to follow suit. But I also want to say it's the individual's responsibility. All of us as professionals are responsible for giving each other the kudos. I shouldn't have to wait for the kudos. You're my teammate. We working together. 40 hours a week. I'm with you.
Yes.
And I see how hard you're busting it out in this department. I'm going to give you this kudos. So I
Yes.
think it's not only for the leader to take on that full burden, but the entire team. Everyone's
Absolutely.
responsible for giving each other kudos, but that leader's responsible for leading by example.
I love that.
Thank
And
you.
that's awesome. I tell people a lot that we spend when you work a full-time job, right? You spend the majority of your life with the people that you work with, either in transition to work,
Yes.
in the 8 to 12 hours you spend, whatever your schedule
Yes.
is, overtime, etc., and then in your transition home. So if I'm going to spend the majority of my day with you, let's make it the best, right? Encourage your
Exactly.
coworkers to work with you as a team, because this is a collaborative thing, right? We're all working toward the same goal. So I really like that because it encourages peer-to-peer recognition,
Yes.
right? Bill, you want to weigh in on that?
No, I really enjoy what Kyree was saying, and I really agree with that. That it's kind of like you look at parenting, and you have a husband, you have a wife, and you have children, right? And so you take that application of being a parent and you think about how management is like a parent is the responsible party that's held accountable for the decisions that are made, as well as knowing. You ever been in the living room and all of a sudden that TV show is going off and there's just all kind of language and you got little kids, so when you jump up, you grab that channel changer, right? And so leadership is that channel changer that begins to change the channel on the flow of the department. And
I like
so
that.
I think as a manager, it's almost like you ever heard people say, whose responsibility is safety, right? And so everyone will be like scratching their heads and then they say, oh, it's everyone's responsibility. And so I say this, I'm very passionate about culture and I don't take credit for it. I'm a part of this organization called You Are the CEO. It's a self-improvement, self-leadership platform, and it's a life-changing platform. And the founder, Michael E. Parker, he talks a lot about business culture is what you do consistently, what you allow, and what you celebrate. And I'm not taking credit for that. Michael E. Parker is the founder. He's the one that has changed and empowered my life through his fundamental teachings about this. But so a manager is responsible for the culture in the department, right? And so what you allow, does that manager continuously go about not recognizing their employees? See, if a director of sterile processing is not recognizing his supervisor in front of the employees, it's like that child, right, that sees the parent that's, say you have a child that's abusive, a father that's abusive. You see how that child starts to abuse their dolls because it's a product. It's a passed on behavior. So I'll say as a manager, a director is in front of your staff, like when your supervisor makes a good decision, saying, hey, Kyree, hey, that was outstanding what you just did.
Yes.
That impacts culture. You start to celebrate that. So it's what you do consistently, what you allow, and what you celebrate. And when you're doing that in front of your employees and you're creating these programs about recognition and having a kudos box, a suggestion box,
Yes.
team building activities, group outings, going to Applebee's after work, or
Look, you're giving it all away.
no, I'm just saying these things really help, right? So I think as managers, see, look, the problem with a lot of managers, and then I'll hop off on this question is a lot of managers don't really take the time to really get to know their employees. I mean,
That's true.
There was a manager that was really, really impactful in my career early in sterile processing, and it was I call her Miss Karen Cherry. Now I know she got married recently, but
I know. She's my mentor too. She's amazing.
but
That's
but
awesome.
but what she did was she met with all the employees and she got to know them. She
Mm-hmm.
let them talk to her, and she really got to know them, and so you started to develop that bond. And so I think sometimes leaders, they're so concentrated on key performance indicators, staff meetings. I got to
Yes.
go to this meeting instead of taking the time to sit down, pull up a chair, and say, "Hey, what are you working on? Working on a minor tray. Okay, let me see how you."
Yes.
So I just want to say, I think it's like really getting to know the department and just agreeing with Kyree that managers are really the channel changers for and the tone setters for the department.
I'm going to say that leaders are channel changers. I like that. I really do. I see Sharon said, what about coworkers? They can invest in culture too. Absolutely. It's like I said, it's collaborative. It is a collaborative effort. We are all working toward the same goal.
Absolutely.
And the goal is not only what we put out to our customers, but what we give to us, what we pour into our team. It's a collaborative effort, and everybody's pouring in something positive. You're going to get something positive, right? And it's a trickle down effect, like you said, from the top to the bottom. Lead by example. Be the channel changers. Hey, Kenneth, I see you. Thank you for joining. Let's see. We are actually going to take a short break at this point and do our Be the Change announcement. We'll see you.
Good afternoon. My name is Barry Bryant. I'm a sterile processing manager at Northeast Georgia Health System and currently the treasurer for the Georgia Sterile Processing Association. I accept the challenge to be the change I want to see. I have two goals for our chapter this year. The first is to increase our membership. I felt like our local chapter has been stagnant for a few years, more than likely due to COVID. So in part of being the change I wanted to see, I was willing to participate in any way I can to help support our chapter. So my goal, obviously, number one, is to continue to help grow our membership. Number two is I want to be a mentor to upcoming sterile processing leaders because I don't feel like there was enough mentoring out there. There's a lot of senior leadership mentoring in healthcare and healthcare administration, but not so much in our arena in sterile processing. So I want to be able to provide some mentoring to a lot of upcoming leaders in this industry. Regardless of what organization you're working, it's all about growing our profession, and that's what's important to me. So that's my second goal for our chapter. I challenge five. I'm going to challenge actually 6 people to be the change they want to see. First one is Jameed Billingsley, Sharice Brown, Marita Gatson, Sal Kamara, Latasha Hall, and Shalana Williams. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Barry. That was absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for accepting the change. I'm sorry, the challenge to be the change that you want to see. You guys that came back on so quick, I'm snacking on the Skittles. Sorry.
Not a Snickers.
Taste the rainbow.
Right? Okay. So back into it. I do want to just do a quick little spiel about the 2 types of recognition because we've already kind of touched on that. So for people that are tuning in that may not know, there are 2 types of recognition, right? You have from top down and then you have peer-to-peer. And we kind of touched on both of those. And so we're exploring those right now. And then also, because I don't want the leaders to think that we forgot about them, we're going to talk a little bit later about bottom up. All right. Bill, you're up. How does receiving recognition impact motivation and job satisfaction?
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
It's a really good one. Yeah, something about when you feel appreciated, it just really goes a long time. You know, there's a story. I was working at Children's Hospital. I was working the weekend, and there was a doctor. He was the head of like general surgery. His name was Dr. James or Jim Betts. And he was always known for going to this like really fancy cafe and buying just like the deli. It was like a deli, and he would buy all this like fancy stuff. That, you know, it was like so. It's the stuff that's so expensive. You would be like, man, I want that, but it's like $20 for half a pound or whatever. So you wouldn't buy it. And he would come in there and he would knock on the door and he would say, "Who's in sterile processing today?" And then you would say, "Hey, Dr. Betts," and he would say, "Come in the break room and get you some of this." And so it was just a way where he just really, it really made you excited to work there because you knew that, he made sure he took the time, after cases to come to SPD and say, "Hey, thank you for what you do." And so it just really motivated you and made you really excited to be a part. And I think one of the biggest things is, like you said, sterile processing is, I always say, we're the superheroes without the capes. We wear scrubs. We're like, you go to the cafeteria all the time, you get a cup of coffee, you're right next to a patient's spouse or grandma, and you're getting a latte behind them, but they don't know that the person behind them literally turned over those trays that are going to save the life of their family member. And it's almost like, I know sometimes people really struggle with not getting a pat on the back, but I'm always reminded, like, I didn't sign up for pats on the back. I signed up to make a difference. I didn't sign up to get my name called. I didn't. That's not why I signed up. I signed up because I want to impact, the patient care industry, the healthcare industry, and so I think like recognition and stuff like that, it really does improve morale. It makes you feel, even when a manager just takes the time to tell you like you did something good, it goes a long way. Or if they
Yeah.
buy, like my boss, she does like the birthday once a month, but she buys cakes and everyone comes in the break room and we sing and we eat cake, and it just makes you feel good to know that the people that under appreciate you.
I
Yeah.
love it. I do want to piggyback on a story you just said. So you said something about the surgeon coming in, and I want to tell a little bit about like the impact that it has on the staff. So I was working at a facility one time, and they had like massages they were giving away for the staff, and it was for surgical services. But when the SPD team went up to partake in that, they were turned away. And it
Mhm.
was such a dissatisfier for the staff. They all came back and they were so hurt and they were so upset that they weren't able to partake in that appreciation, because we are all surgical services, right? And so that's what I mean when I say, if we can just get one chief of service surgery, one OR manager,
Right.
one CNO to appreciate the sterile processing department at the same rate and on the same level, then we can move forward, right? Kyree, you seem like you wanted to weigh in on that.
I do. So great job on both of you. We
Thank
gotta
you.
do this more often. This is too fun. Great job. So what I would like to add is that when your team feels recognized and they feel appreciated and they feel heard, they're going to give you their best versions of themselves. And that's what you want them to do every single time they're doing that trait for that patient. I want you to give me your best version every single time. And the way to do that, I'm going to support you. How can I support you? Let me get to know you. Let's have these meetings. But first, being able to just be humble enough as a leader to say,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I got you. I see you working hard. I got you. And they're going to appreciate it. Or just, like you said, Bill, just by walking by, just saying thank you. All
Yeah.
of that matters to the team.
It
They're
does.
quick to see it. They're going to observe it. They're going to mental note it. So it's important that you leave a good image for your team every single day. And the image is showing that you is trying to support patient care and quality patient care every single time.
Absolutely. I see some people in the comments, someone said, dang, like watching all the kids get a sucker or an ice cream cone and you get nothing. And then Sharon says, you get a car and you get a car, but you don't. Right? So
Right.
we want to make sure that we recognize everyone. Um, Kyree,
Yes.
what are some effective ways to recognize achievements that benefit the entire team?
Okay. What are some ways can you say it again? I'm sorry.
Yes, some effective ways that you can recognize achievements that the entire team did. So we all put in this effort. So how can we recognize the whole team for that?
Oh, I got this. All right. So first, when you set your expectations for your team, you want to make sure they're realistic for the team to get, and you want to
Mhm.
make sure you're tracking it. So when it comes to, and I'm thinking about a particular incident where we had issues with bioburden. Okay,
Okay.
bioburden. So what we did was we tracked the data of what our issues are with the buyer burden, how many issues we're having, and how frequent they are. And then we communicate with the team. Listen, guys, this is the reality of what we're giving our patients. This is not okay. How can we do better? So now I'm getting insight and inputs from the team so we can do this together to fixing this problem. The team loves that. So for future leaders, your team loves to be engaged to fix problems together. That
Oh,
makes it even more better and more effective when it comes to fixing issues. All right, back to my story. So then now that the team is all engaged and we're all working together to fix this process, we're going to keep up on updates. How are we doing on a weekly basis? Hey guys, we're showing improvements. Hey guys, we're not showing improvements. But once we reach that level of success, man, we're
yes.
gonna party. I love food. The way to my heart is food. So we having a party, we having some music, and we're going to enjoy each other. And then you're also going to get a letter from me, a note just saying thank you, but something more personal. It takes time to do that. So, and your hands do get tired, but people appreciate it and they save those notes. So let's celebrate. If you're so quick, leaders are so quick to penalize and nah, you did this wrong. But let's celebrate. Let's do more of celebrating than we do all these shaming. Because it's a lot that we take on in SPD. It's a lot of work that we're asking for. So let's be the ones to praise our team, not the ones to shame them.
Absolutely. That leads me to when you said shaming. Yes, we want to acknowledge that things happen, right? Because nobody is perfect. So yes, we need to acknowledge when those things happen. But the one thing that can really turn down the morale in the department is when all you do is dump and you don't ever put in anything positive. What happens is staff are not going to want to come and talk to you because they don't feel like it's a safe space because all you ever do is dump. So that's why it's important to recognize and appreciate all of the wins, not just some, not just the big ones. Recognize all of them. And you can even do that in a shift report, right? So pat yourself on the back, man. We did an awesome job today, right? Yeah, we had a couple of hiccups, but at the end of the day, we completed 65 cases with no errors. We had 2 issues, but we did 65 that were awesome, right? I see Rebecca saying that she worked in an area where they blocked off times for employees to come and enjoy festivities. And that was one of the best hospitals that she worked at, right? It's not just departmental. So I hope that we have some people here that are higher up that can see that employee appreciation really does matter. It really means something. I tell my employees and staff and coworkers, et cetera, all the time, and this is a nugget, right? We've been giving out nuggets this whole show, but this is a nugget for people who are looking to be in leadership, people who are in leadership, people who are new to leadership, et cetera, that I always treat my staff as if I need them, because the reality is I do, right?
We need them.
I need you. And that's the truth. And when I tell them that, and they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, no. I need you. I need you to do this work. So I want to praise you. I want to be, you know what I'm saying? I want to know what's going on in your life. I want to sit down and talk to you. I want to help you. I want to be as much as a resource as possible to you because I need you. I need you to do this work.
Yes.
So tuck that in your back pocket. Right? With that, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we will see you guys back shortly. Hello and welcome back, you guys. Again, we are talking about appreciation and recognition in teams, and I have with me Bill Rishell and Kyree Thomas. Before we jump back in, I want to take a moment because I saw in the comments that Kenneth said off-site employee engagement so that they can see that you truly appreciate them and they separate work from the personable when you can. So I want to give a little story behind this. Way back some time ago, I came to a facility and I started something called um, the employee engagement program. And what that program looked like was where when we had concerns in the department, there was representation from each shift, and each one of those representatives were in charge of following up with their shift, getting the feedback, and then we come together and we talk about how to resolve those issues. There was another portion of that committee where they navigated things for us to do social events that were outside and off of the work site, right? And when I tell you we had so much fun, we're bowling, we're going to baseball games, we are doing karaoke, and the staff really enjoyed that. So that is awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. You reminded me of that, and the staff really enjoyed that experience. So Cliff Russell, hello, hello. Thank you for joining us. We are back. Um,
That's Cliff. Hey, Cliff. What's going on, Cliff? Oh, man. Yay.
oh, wait, I see
I'm sorry.
Sharon said Anthony Bonden had folks at the park doing bag races. Everyone had a great time. Kyree, you did some stuff at the park. There is opportunity, right? And the staff loved it. There is opportunity for us to do things off-site as well. So don't
Mhm.
forget about those moments. And the staff really do appreciate. I showed up as the manager. I showed up to every one of those events that we put together, right? And they really appreciated the fact that I was able to come off site and spend that time with them, that I valued their time and valued them enough. And I'm bring your families, right? Bring your children. I don't
Right,
care what, bring your
right.
grandkids. Let's do a barbecue at SPD. We did SPD day at the park. We barbecued together. We brought our families. We brought our children. We communed together. That was my team, right? So pour into your teams, guys. Sorry, I got off track.
No, that was good. That was good.
Bill, thank you, thank you. Bill, for those who may not feel as comfortable, because sometimes the barrier is you just don't feel comfortable giving that recognition. You don't know how. So those who don't feel comfortable, do you have any tips for them on how they can show their peers recognition?
So, how to show their peers recognition where maybe they're not as comfortable doing it, maybe like out loud or anything like that. I mean, you always can do anonymously. You can always streamline appreciation through leadership, or maybe you could always check in with a leader and say, "Hey, I really want to appreciate my coworker, but maybe I'm shy, or maybe I don't like to kind of be out in the front." And so you can always maybe use your current leader that's in place as maybe someone that could help to like officiate that opportunity, or you could do it in like a card, like an anonymous card, or you could just do like one of those, you ever got DoorDash from someone you had no idea who it was from or something, or like a surprise that way. So there's a lot of ways you can do things anonymously, especially with the technology that we have today. You could maybe there's a coworker that you really confide in that you feel that maybe that they'll do it for you, and that they kind of there's a trust that's built up there. So I think there's different ways you can do it. Put something on their desk, and that's where they typically work at, or yeah. Anyways, I think it's just there's a lot of different ways you can anonymously recognize people. Like I said, through leadership, you can do it through gifts or stuff like that. So
I like that.
Me
And
too.
for anyone who is watching, let me just tell you, with my background in leadership, upper leadership, incorporating your leader when you want to recognize somebody is top tier. It is
mhm.
top tier. Let me tell you why. You have no idea what that person is going through individually. You have no idea what they have going on with the leadership. But when you recognize them, when you come and say, hey, look, Kyree, let's say Kyree's the manager. Hey, look, Kyree, such and such did an awesome job. Bill did an awesome job at decontam, and I really would like to know how to recognize him. That puts it on her radar that maybe yesterday Bill didn't do so great, but okay, he had a really good day today, right? That puts it on the radar as a way for them to recognize and for them in their mind to say, oh, okay, they're doing a really good job. Let me make sure I keep an eye on them. Let me make sure that I recognize them, right? So
Exactly.
incorporating your leadership when you are trying to recognize your peers is top tier.
Right,
Let's say that
right.
again.
Now, another way you can do it. I know this is kind of like I'm just thinking outside the box. Is sometimes you could switch job tasks for the day because like some people they don't like decontamination. Let's just be honest. Some people are like I don't like doing pill packs, and so when you hear them go, "Oh man, I got to do pill packs today," you'll say, "Hey, you want to switch?"
Yeah.
And that's a way like you're showing. That's another form of showing that person that you value them by maybe switching the roles or responsibilities that you have in the department. So
Absolutely.
or sponsoring like sometimes I know as a manager when I was in the sterilization validation field, there was an employee who really wanted to do this certification program, like a to like an educational seminar, and so just having that conversation with the CEO to say,
Mhm.
I think these two people really want to do this, and really just kind of supporting them through that. I really like what Rebecca Lauber is saying is meet them at their level. Like when you really know your peers, being
Ab-
able to actually, when you know what they value and delivering that what they're valuing is so important.
Absolutely. So look, I know you guys are wondering when are we going to get to the appreciation for leaders for all the leaders that are on the call, and we are getting there. We are getting there, right? Because we know that leaders like to be appreciated too, right? We work really hard, and you may not see us as often as you would like, but know that we are fighting the good fight with you.
Right.
We are sticking it out. We are taking bullets. We are ducking and diving and shucking and jiving, right? We
So
are
true.
doing it. We are doing our best. I promise you. So, for all the leaders who are wondering, or for all the staff really who are wondering, how can I appreciate my awesome leader because they are so awesome? Kyree, can you give us a few examples on how staff can appreciate their awesome leaders?
Absolutely. Do I have time to go back to Bill's question? Because I had
Absolutely.
one. Okay. All right. So I have an example or story. So as a manager, I had an employee come to me and she said, hey, four of the employees in the department had four deaths. I only knew of two. She said, I know it's a lot going on. Can we just call the chaplain and have like the chaplain come down and do a prayer for the team? So, well, wow, thank you.
Mhm.
So, what I did was I booked a conference room and I provided food. And I made it more than just a chaplain coming down to me because I wanted to support her vision. I loved it.
Love it.
So we had the chaplain come down. They came down with the team. They had food and it was a separate room and people came in individually and they did their separate prayers and they appreciated it so much. And it was all because that one employee spoke up for the masses. And then we were able to create something in a fast amount of time. They accommodated it within no time and our team felt supported. And they will never forget that because in their most deepest and darkest time, guess who's there? Their work family.
Right? And that
Right.
is awesome. That is awesome to come together like that. And that's what we talk about when we say work family, when we say we spend the majority of our time with you. Yes. Let's talk about your kids. How's the family doing? Get to know each other. Right? That increases
Yes.
the morale in your department. I absolutely love that.
Okay.
Tips for how to appreciate your awesome leader.
All right. So for staff, if you have a leader that you are just in awe about because they're amazing and they're great role models, and you want to be able to say thank you in multiple ways, like we've been saying this entire show, get to know your person
Absolutely.
because how John would like to be treated is not the same how Chimere would like to be treated or Bill. So get to know your people and see what is their language of receiving gifts. Second, good gifts. Like I said earlier, it's always a gift card and cash. That's a safe gift. But the gifts with the handwritten notes
Hmm.
of just saying how much you impacted me. That means a lot to a leader. When I was a manager, I used to keep all my notes on my door, and my desk faced the door. So when I was having a hard time, all I had to do was look at the door and say, "Man, I'm good," because my team said I'm good. And that was the biggest part of me being a manager. As long as my team is good, I'm good, because I supported them and their work was everything to me, and I appreciate it. So for staff, you want to give your leaders recognition, high kudos, a high five, shoot, and huddle. Say something. You know what? You did amazing yesterday in navigating the department. Thank you so much for providing more staff and decontam. Acknowledge it, or you can even say it in the moment to your leader. You know what? Thank you for listening to me yesterday. I appreciated that. I do know as a manager how I poured into those leaders as well, because I do want to share that, because those who are managers, you have to pour into your leaders as well. And how I did with some simple tasks and some big tasks. So some simple examples, emails. My emails always say, "Good morning, superstars. Hello, awesome leaders." I'm always giving you that greeting because you are awesome. You are super. You are amazing. You may not hear from no one else, but you're going to hear from me every single time I send you an email. That's how I'm going to start off. I'm going to give you high fives. As a manager, we had a wall on the board, a kudos wall, and it was titled "Look what they say about us." And it was all the kudos that the employees gave to each other. And it was right at the entrance of the department. So whenever anyone came to our department, whether it was a visitor, joint commission, just our staff, whenever you came into the department, you saw that wall and you saw how we all acknowledge one another. That was big. That was big. Each See, I can go on and on. Um, all right, I got two more. Each year, we would I would have intentional meetings. So, like you said, Bill, like with Miss Karen Cherry, I would have one-on-ones with my leaders. I would have a separate one-on-one, and I would ask them 5 questions of how can I support you? What can I do better? Are you set up for success? And these are some questions I would ask every single month, and I would jot these answers down, and then I would compare it to my following month. Hey, last month you said you were struggling with this. How is this going? Do you feel better now? Or do you still need these resources? Like, those one-on-ones are everything to support your leaders, and you got to be able to prioritize that. And then a grand gift. Not that you have to be grand. Um, but as a manager, this little secret, I guess now the world knows, but I would receive annual bonuses every year. And I would take a portion of that bonus. The first portion of my bonus would go to my tithes and offering. The second portion of my bonus would go to my team. And I would divide up by my coordinators, by my supervisors, by my lead techs, all of my leaders, and they would get a portion of that. I didn't do this work by myself. You guys helped me. And then the department's getting food. We're gonna have, I like food. So the department's gonna get food, but my leaders, their reward is something so much bigger, because thank you. Your support is the reason why we're able to complete these tasks.
I love it.
So there are some tips. All right, I'm done.
Love it. I love it. This has been an awesome show, you guys. Awesome. And I hope that we have people on here who have been able to get some tools and tips, right? To move
Yes.
forward in appreciating their teams. And just because like I keep saying, it does build the morale in your department, right? It helps build trust. It helps build morale. It is really encouraging to your staff, and you need them. You need them to do the work for you. You need them to believe in everything that you put out, the goals that you set forth. You need them to believe in you, right? You need them to be able to respect you. You need them to be able to have that safe space within you. And you help build that when you recognize and appreciate them, as opposed to only addressing them when you have concerns.
I agree.
Rebecca says, "So happy to know that I'm not the only one with that type of energy." And she said that right when you said your email, Kyree. So I know that she was referring to that. And let me just give you guys a quick story about that. So Kyree and I, we, worked together, and she sent out an email, and it was one of those emails where everybody's in trouble. Everybody's in trouble, but I felt so darn good about it. I said, man, that was an awesome email. But everybody was in trouble because she had such great energy. But it was an awesome email, right? I didn't feel dumped on the team. It went out to all the leaders. The team didn't feel dumped on. You felt good, like, man, let me make those corrections. Let me handle it. So yes, she is a great email person. Um,
Thank you.
we have just a few more minutes. Let me make sure we don't have any.
Can I, can I
Got it.
touch on that last question real quick?
Yay, Bill.
You know,
So what I want to say too is I think another way you can show appreciation to your leaders, and I know this is going to sound so corny, but it's the truth. So one of the best ways that you can show appreciation to your leaders is just by doing your job. It's just by doing the things that you're supposed to do. And no other, you know what managers love the most is when you make, let's just say, like, give an example. Let's say
That's so true.
Kyree is my boss and Cece is her boss. The best way to show your boss appreciation is by making Kyree look good in the eyes of Cece. So when you make your boss's boss look
There you
good,
go.
that's golden, right? When you're like, oh, Cece, you know what? Kyree is doing such a great job, and she's doing this, and she's, and this is what she's done, A, B, and C. When you make your boss look good in front of their boss, that is like golden, right? Because that's what everybody wants, is to look good in front of their boss's boss. So I think too, it's like, you know, when, how would I say it? Like, when you do what you're just supposed to do, you're one less person the manager has to deal with. And so if you're that employee if say, I've never been in the office, I don't even know what kind of candy Kyree has in her office. That's a good thing, right? That's a good thing when you're not in the manager's office. And so,
Right.
anyways, I just want to say, like, just by doing what you're supposed to do, being a value added employee, someone that's listening in the department from the ears of how can I be helped to, some basically being a team member that's constantly helping other people, understanding, compassionate, empathetic, sympathetic.
yes.
Those are things I think really can help. But if you want to know what Bill Rishell likes, I'm a coffee connoisseur. So hey,
Okay.
buy me coffee. I like beans, single origin. That's my thing. But I also like to make my boss look good in front of their boss, because when you do that,
Yes.
it really goes a long way.
Bill,
That
I
was
am with you. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say that was a nugget, everyone.
Look, I I am that same person. I like to make my boss look good, and I understand that it will never be Bill is terrible. It will always be that SPD department is terrible. So I
Yes.
want to make sure that I'm in that employee that's making everybody look good, because at the end of the day, we are all going to take the hit.
Yep.
We are all going to take the hit when the meetings are happening. They're going to say SPD, right? Nobody's alone in this thing. And I
Right.
see Tony said that part, Bill. I want to tell you what she meant. Bill has dropped 2 top tier nuggets, right? The first one is include the leadership in peer to peer recognition. That was top tier. The second one was just do what you're supposed to do. That's the best way to show your manager appreciation. I love it. I love when I come in like, what? Yeah, Bill.
Yes.
I'm ready to do something for you. I gotta do something for you.
Right. Right.
Right?
Let's get
Look, we only
food.
have 5, right? We have 5 more minutes. So I do want to go back, and I want to do a little bit of recap, some takeaways for people who maybe came in late, etc. I do want to let you guys know that if you're looking for ways and you're trying to figure out how to implement programs in your department, do a survey. Ask them, what is it that you want? How do you like to be appreciated? Right? Ask them. That is the best way. Um, remember that no matter what, this too is collaborative. Right? This too is something that is collaborative. It is a two-way street. It's a two-way street. Also, do things that add value added recognition, right? That was another one from Bill. From Kyree, leaders are responsible for the recognition. So lead by example. be the leader that you want to have, right? Be the leader that you want to have, and then be the channel changer. All right, you guys. Kyree, before we get off of here, can you tell us where everyone can find you and what you have going right now?
All righty. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Kyree U. Thomas. And what I have going on is today, HSPA just announced that I am one of the nominees for the board of directors. Yay! Elections start March 11th and it ends April 1st. So please vote for me. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Oh. Bill, where can the people find you? If they want to talk to you, they want to see you, where are you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, of course, Bill Rishell. It's Rishell. My podcast just launched last Saturday. We'll be releasing our episodes, sterilizationStation.org. I'm on Instagram, sterilization_station52. That's where you can find me at. But I just want to add one comment. I'm so sorry. One thing, always remember, if you want to be a leader, find opportunities every day to lead. Maybe your opportunity is not there. And like Les Brown said, be ready for it's better to be ready for an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. So as someone once told me, you want to be an educator, start educating. You want to be a manager, start managing. So if you really want to be a leader, start leading. And so if you want recognition, make sure you're giving out recognition.
There we go. That is an awesome way to end. I love it. That is an awesome way to end, guys. I want to thank everyone so much who logged in today, who liked, who subscribed, who left comments, to sponsors. I just thank you guys so much for showing your support and continuing to come. And thank you, Bill and Kyree, for showing up today and having this awesome discussion with me. It was amazing.
Thank
and week. I will see you guys.
Anthony. Good to see you, Anthony. Sorry, he said what's up, Bill.
SPD, unfortunately, is often a very underappreciated and underrepresented part of the perioperative team.
So what we understood is that not only is it super important for the sterile processing technician to understand what's happening in the OR and how what they do impacts patient safety, but also that the perioperative team understand what is happening in the sterile processing department.
If you've lived in either one of those places, you know how it feels when something goes wrong. The relationship between the OR and the SPD can sometimes be really difficult. With this program, we want to help build a bridge between the two departments. We're all working together towards the same goal of surgical patient safety, and we're so much stronger when we work together.